Hi Astros! Today we're going to be reading Curious George Learns the Alphabet by H.A. Rang. This is George. He lived with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. He was a good little monkey, but he was always curious. This morning, George was looking at some of his friend's books. They were full of little black marks and dots and lines, and George was curious. What could one do with them? The man with the yellow hat came just in time. You don't tear a book apart to find out what's in it, he said. You read it, George. Books are full of stories, and stories are made of words, and words are made of letters. If you want to read a story, you first have to know the letters of the alphabet. Let me show you. The man took a big pad and began to draw. George was curious. This is an A, the man said. The A is the first letter of the alphabet. Now we add 4 feet and a long tail, and the A becomes an alligator. What letter does the word alligator start with? I'll let you take a minute to think. A. The word alligator starts with an A. This is a big A. There's also a small a. All letters come in big and small. And these are capital and lowercase letters. This is a small a. It looks like a piece of an apple. George knew alligators and apples. You could eat apples. Alligators could eat you if you didn't watch out. And what letter is this one, friends? B. This is a big B. The big B looks like a bird if we put feet on it and a tail and a bill. The word bird begins with a B. Birds come in all colors. The bird is blue. George loved to watch birds. This is a small bee. It could be a bee. This bee is busy buzzing around a blossom. The bee's body has black and yellow stripes. George kept away from bees. They might sting, and that would be bad. But this letter, C. This is a big C. We will make it into a crab, a big crab, with a shell and feet and 2 claws. This is a small C. The small C is like the big C, only smaller, so it becomes a small crab. It's cute. Crabs live in the ocean. They can swim or run sideways and backwards. Crabs can be funny, but they can also pinch you. You now have 3 letters, George, the man said. Do you remember what those letters are? A and B and C. With these 3 letters, you can make a word. The first word, you can read yourself. The word is cab. C-A-B, cab. You know what a cab is. I once took you for a ride in a cab, remember? Now let's draw the next letter. What's this letter, friends? D. D. The big D could be a dinosaur. There are no live dinosaurs today. They have died out. Those you see in museums are dummies. George has seen dinosaurs in a museum once. The small d looks like a dromedary. A dromedary is a camel with 1 hump. Riding on a dromedary can make you dizzy because it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. What's this letter, friends? E. The big E is an elephant. He is eating his evening meal, eggplants. George loved elephants. Elephants are my favorite animal. What's your favorite animal? The small e could be the ear of a man or the ear of a monkey. People's ears and monkeys' ears look very much alike. What's this letter? F. The big F is a fireman fighting a fire. Never fool the fire department or you go to jail and that's no fun. The small f is a flower. George's friend was fond of flowers. George preferred. George's friend was fond of flowers. George preferred food. G, g. What's this letter? G. The big G is a goose. Goose starts with G, like George. The small g is a goldfish. He's in a glass bowl and looks giddy. Now you know 7 letters, George, said the man. A, B, C, D, F, and G. With these letters, we can already make quite a few words. I have some written down. You can read them while I get your lunch. Can you read the words? We have D-A-D, dad. E-D, ed. B-A-D is b-a-d, bad. B-A-G, bag. C-A-G-E is cage. F-E-E-D is feed. And B-E-D is bed. It seems the only word you can read is bad, said the man when he came back. I think we had enough for one morning. I'll feed you now and then you take your nap. After your nap, we'll go on with our letters. What's this letter? H. H. The big H is a house. It stands on a hill behind a hedge. George's home used to be the jungle. Now he lives in a house. The small h is a horse. He is happy because he has heaps of hay. George had his own horse, a hobby horse. What's this letter? I. The big I is just a long line going straight down. It does not look like much. It could be an icicle. The small I is a line with a dot. It could be an iguana. An iguana is a sort of lizard. Iguanas don't like ice. They like the warm sunshine. So does George. What's this letter? J. J. The big J is a jaguar. Jaguars live in the jungle. George knew jaguars. He had lived in the jungle once. The small J is a jack-in-the-box. George had a jack-in-the-box as a toy. He just loved to make it jump. What's this letter? K. The big K is a big kangaroo called Katie. The small k is a small kangaroo. He is Katie's kid. This letter, what's this letter, friends? L. The big L is a lion. He is lucky. He's going to have leg of lamb for lunch. He loves it. The small L is a lean lady. She's strolling along a lake licking a lollipop. George liked lollipops. What's this letter, friends? M. The big M is a mailman. His name is Mr. Miller. He brings a letter. Maybe it's for me, thinks George. The small m is a mouse. He is munching mints. And do you know what else it is? Said the man to George. M is the 13th letter of the ABCs. The whole alphabet has only 26 letters, so 13 is just half of it. You could make lots of words with these letters. Why don't you try? Here's a pad and pencil. George started to think of words, and then he wrote them down. It was fun to make words out of letters. Let me see, said the man. Ball, milk, cake, ham, jam, egg, lime, feed, kid. That's very good. But what on earth is a dalg, or a glidge, or a blimlimlim? There are no such things, just any letters do not make words, George. Well, let's look at some new letters now. What's this letter, friends? N. is a napkin. Standing on a dinner plate, it looks neat. George had seen napkins folded that way in the restaurant when he was a dishwasher. The small N is a nose. In the face of a man, he has a new blue necktie on and is nibbling noodles. What's this letter? Oh, oh, O. The big O is a big ostrich. What's this letter? O. The big O is a big ostrich, and the small O is a small ostrich, of course. Ostriches eat odd objects. One ostrich once had tried to eat a bugle that belonged to George. What's this letter, friends? P. The big P is a big penguin, and the small p is a small penguin. These penguins live near the South Pole. They use their flappers as paddles. George knew penguins from the zoo. What's this letter? K, k. Q is a quail. Quails have short tails. You must keep quiet if you want to watch quails. They are quite shy. The small q is a quarterback. A quarterback has to be quick. George was quick. He would qualify for a quarterback. And now get your football, George, said the man. It will do you good to play a little before we go on with your letters. George knew how to play the game. He knew how to carry the ball and how to take a three-point stance and how to get ready for the kickoff. He was a fine halfback, too, and he could make a short pass or recover a fumble. Good game, said the man. The time's up now. Back to the alphabet. What's this letter? R. The big R is a rabbit. Some rabbits are white with red eyes. Rabbits love radishes. George loved rabbits. He had one as a pet. The small r is a rooster. The rooster crows when the sun rises. Two roosters will start a rumpus. They can get really rough. What's this letter? S. The big S is a big snail, and the small s is a small snail. Snails are slow. They sneak into their shells when they are scared of something. George thought snails looked silly. This letter is T. The big T is a table. The table is set for two. It is time for tea. George did not care for tea, but he liked toast. The small t is a tomahawk. George had a toy tomahawk. It was a tiny one. He took it along when he played outside. Now it's time for a snack, said the man. Run over to the baker, George, and hand him this note. Then come back with the donuts, 1 dozen of them, and no tricks, please. George was curious. He looked in the note the man had written. 1 dozen donuts. Maybe he could write something on it too. How about writing 10 instead of 1? He had just learned the T, first a T, then an E, then an N. 10. Said the baker. 10 dozen donuts is quite a lot. But that's what the note says. We need an extra big bag for them. Look how big his bag of donuts is. That's silly. Why, George, cried the man. Then he saw the note. Well, that comes from teaching the alphabet to a little monkey. And I told you, no tricks. You may not eat any donuts now, George. Put them back in the bag and let's go on with the letters. This letter is U. The big is a big umbrella standing upright. George knew how to use an umbrella. The umbrella handle is also like a U, but that one is upside down. The small U is a small umbrella. When it is raining, umbrellas are useful, but you must keep under the umbrella unless you want to get wet. George thought rain was a nuisance. V. This letter is V. The big V is a big Valentine, and the small V, and the small V is a small Valentine. George loved Valentines. He got several Valentine cards every year. One card came from Nevada. W. W. The big W and the small w are whiskers, big ones and small ones. A walrus has whiskers. Some men and cats have whiskers. George did not have whiskers, but he was curious how he would look. The next letter of the alphabet is X. The big X and the small x look alike. Only one is big and one is small, just like the big W and the small w, or the V, or the U, or the S, and some of the other letters. But said the man, there are few words that start with an X, and they don't look like an X, except for one, and that is Xmas. Santa stands for Xmas. Xmas is Christmas. It's a different way of writing it. There's only one Santa, so we need only one picture. George thought Xmas was exciting. Another word that starts with X is xylophone. Y. This letter is Y. The big Y is a big yak, and the small y is a small yak. He is still young. Yaks live in Tibet. If you haven't seen any yaks yet, you may find one at the zoo. Lastly, we have Z. The big Z is a big zebra, and the small z is a small zebra. The zebras are zipping along with zest. And do you know what? Said the man. Z is the last letter. Now you know all the 26 letters of the alphabet, and now you may have the donuts. The end. I hope you enjoyed our book, Astros. I know it was a little bit of a long one, but now you know all of the letters of the alphabet, both big and small, the uppercase and lowercase letters. Have a good day, Astros. Bye.